Well, good Monday morning, everybody. I am meteorologist Johnny Lively here to take a look at our forecast sponsored by HB Neal Construction. Sliding over to radar, it is actually not bad at all. Thanks to Dana Simmons' real estate team, we can show you that it is dry right now on radar, and it's expected to be dry across the whole region today. Temperatures this morning got down into the 60s. You know you're from Texas when you're over here bragging about temperatures getting down into the 60s. But areas like to the north, towards the lakes region, got down to 66 to 67 degrees. Here's the last 6 hours on satellite and radar. It is awfully quiet here across the region of southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana. There is some action going on up there towards the Oklahoma City region, and we'll talk a little bit more on that because that is a boundary that is pushing through. But notice the last 24 hours, we've had this orange. That is dry air, but look off to the north. You can see some of that white and green coming in. That is moisture and cloud cover that's slowly going to start pushing back into our area. So we slowly expect that the rain will start increasing once we get into Tuesday. More moisture starts coming into our region. Here's a current temperature sponsored by Do Good Credit Union. You can see where a cold front came through the United States. Look at some areas into the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Still over here in southeast Texas, we're warm, but we are bragging about our temperatures earlier this morning into the 60s. But parts of Houston already at 80 degrees and New Orleans at 84. But let's talk about here locally, sponsored by Modern Concrete Materials. We can see several areas over here in southeast Texas in the 60s. Sour Lake 69, Beaumont at 68. You want to get even cooler? Look at Hemp Hill at 64 degrees this morning. Lake Charles even off to a cool start at 73. Down towards the coast, they are into the low to mid 70s. Galveston a little bit warmer at 78. So it has actually been a really nice morning here across the region, and it just shows us every day we're getting closer to fall and more cold fronts. Construction forecast sponsored by Modern Concrete. This really is a nice day. Green light for any outdoor sports going on, any outdoor activities, construction going on. This looks great. No rain is expected, but we do expect that we're going to start seeing some clouds moving back into our region later on this afternoon. Here's the temperature outlook for later this week, getting into the weekend. Notice that another cold front will be pushing through a good portion of the United States. Temperatures will be really nice in those areas in blue, but notice down here in southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana, we will be around average still. So yes, we have this weak front pushing into our area on Friday. The clouds and the rain is going to keep our temperatures down into the low 90s. No, we're not going to get all that nice, lovely, cold or cooler weather like everybody else is, but thanks to the clouds and the rain, we will cool off a little bit. And let's talk about that. This is our Monday forecast sponsored by Neutron Electrical Services in the upper level flow department. You can see we have this high pressure ridge over our area, bringing in this drier air. We are starting to see a little bit moisture coming into our area, but no rain is in the forecast. But once we get to the middle to end of the week, here we are on late Friday getting into Saturday. A weak frontal boundary will be pushing into our region. Have to keep an eye on Friday night football because with this weak frontal boundary coming in, this is going to give us some pretty good coverage Friday evening as that boundary pushes in. So we will have to keep an eye on the Friday night sports activities because this looks to bring some rain. And here we are. We've got the moisture content picking up on Wednesday. Showers and thunderstorms starts coming back into the area as we get into Tuesday evening, especially on Wednesday. But then notice here we are on Friday, that weak frontal boundary pushes into our area. You can see a line of moisture dropping south. That's going to give us pretty good coverage Friday evening, Friday night, and it probably will stick around even on Saturday morning as well too. By Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, notice that dry air pushing into our region. So Saturday evening and Sunday looks pretty nice as dry air starts pushing back into our region. Here's our rainfall outlook. Starts picking up Tuesday, really on Wednesday, especially on Friday as that weak frontal boundary pushes in. We'll keep an eye on that for the outdoor sports that we'll be dealing with on Friday. And then that boundary will still be in our area Saturday morning and eventually pushing offshore by the evening time hours. But let's look at the future cast, not only for today all the way into Wednesday. So today looks nice. We expect we will see the cloud cover coming back into the afternoon hours. This is just kind of showing moisture slowly coming in. But by Tuesday, we have the heat of the day. Now we've got the moisture. We have 30% coverage across the region. And even as we get into Wednesday, that's when we expect a little bit higher coverage across the region. More moisture coming in, giving us a little bit better coverage of showers and thunderstorms across the region. So a dry day today on Monday, but rain slowly picking up on Tuesday, especially on Wednesday. Here's our high temperature sponsored by Modern. We will be at 95 degrees here in Beaumont, 95 in Houston, Lake Charles at 96. Really a good portion of southwest Louisiana will be into the low low to mid 90s. But the further north you go, like Conroe, and even into the lakes region, you will be into the upper 90s. Down towards the coast, you'll be into the upper 80s to low 90s. Overnight lows, the lakes region could get lucky again, getting down into the 60s. Bolt will be at 74, Lake Charles at 76, Houston at 77, and down towards the coast, you will be into the 80s. Here is Tropical Storm Ferdinand. This is really not going to do much at all land-wise. This is going to stay well out to sea. We will watch this on satellite imagery. Definitely not a strong hurricane like Aaron was last week. This is just a tropical system that is turning up the seas over there, making these waters maybe a little bit cooler. But more than anything, this is just going to be a tropical system we watch on satellite. Here is the next area that we're watching. Not much to watch. This had a 40% chance of development. Overnight, they dropped it down to 30%, and this morning, they totally have dropped the percentage down to 0. Here is the reason why. If we look on satellite, you can see it actually had pretty consistent showers and thunderstorms and convection, but right now, the dry air and the wind shear that we've talked about all day, really the last 3, 4, 5 days, we said that this is going to have a hard time. You can see currently having a very hard time. The further west that it goes, it's going to continue getting into the Caribbean. This is called the Caribbean Graveyard. Lots of strong wind shear associated with this area, so this is just going to have a hard time staying alive. If anything, I think we're already seeing it kind of fall apart. Here we are right now with the future cast on it. We're watching it, but have to get my magnifying glass. Not much to watch. Dry air and wind shear really keeping this thing in check, just limited. This is going to bring showers and thunderstorms. Parts of the islands and then getting into Central America by the time we get later this weekend into the weekend. So we'll keep an eye on it, but this does not look to do anything at all. If anything, a part of this energy might break off and get into the Eastern Pacific, but no issues at all for us here into the Gulf. And again, you can continue to keep watching it. Look at all that dry air that it has to really go through. So not only is it going to deal with wind shear, but it's also going to be dealing with lots of dry air. So no concern at all in the tropics. Look at us getting into September, not dealing with the tropical system at all in the Gulf. What we will be dealing with is a really nice day on Monday. No rain in the forecast. As we get into Wednesday, Thursday, especially Friday, rain starting to push back into our area. Weak frontal boundary pushes in on Friday, giving us really good coverage for showers and thunderstorms. We'll have to keep an eye on Friday night football. Here's Southwest Louisiana. Again, really nice day in store for Monday. Rain starts coming back by Tuesday evening, really picking up on Wednesday, especially on Friday as that weak front pushes into our region. So everybody have a wonderful Monday. Thanks for tuning in to Gulf Coast Weather Solutions. We'll have more updates throughout the day. Have a good one, and see y'all again.